What if being single is actually the smarter choice right now? You know what's wild? Everyone around us is either getting into relationships they clearly don't want or faking happiness in ones that are already half dead. And meanwhile, Gen Z, the generation everyone calls emotionally broken, is the only group actually saying out loud, "Yeah, I'm good actually." Not broken, not afraid, not waiting, just choosing differently. And today we're getting into why and whether it's actually healthy or whether it's something deeper we need to talk about. Let me paint a picture. You're 22, maybe 24, maybe 27. You've got a life that looks decent from the outside, friends, hobbies, maybe even a career you're building. And everyone, your parents, your aunties, your coworkers, everyone is asking the same question. So, are you seeing anyone? And you just smile, nod, change the subject, because the real answer is more complicated than they want to hear. The real answer is you have tried. You've done the apps, the dates, the almost relationships, the what are we conversations that went absolutely nowhere. And somewhere along the way, you started to wonder, is this actually worth it? According to a 2023 Pew Research study, nearly 34% of adults under 30 in the US are not in a relationship, and more than half of them say they're not actively looking for one. That's not a dating crisis. That's a decision. So let's actually understand it. Reason number one, Gen Z grew up watching love fail in real time, in their own homes. Think about it. Most Gen Z kids were in middle school during the smartphone boom. They saw their parents fight over text messages. They watched marriages slowly fall apart, not from big dramatic cheating scandals, but from 1,000 small moments of someone slowly disappearing. And here's what that does to a kid's brain. It doesn't make them afraid of love exactly. It makes them terrified of becoming that, stuck, resentful, pretending. The US divorce rate peaked around 50% during Gen Z's childhood years. Gen Z reports the highest levels of childhood witnessed relationship conflict of any generation. Psychologists call this vicarious trauma. You don't have to experience the car crash yourself to develop a fear of cars. Watching it is enough. And Gen Z had front row seats. Reason two, and this one is going to hit different. Dating apps promised Gen Z the world, infinite choices, perfect matches, love at your fingertips. What they actually delivered? A slot machine dressed up as a love story. Here's the psychology of what's actually happening when you swipe. Every match triggers a tiny dopamine hit, just like a notification, just like a like, just like a retweet. Your brain doesn't register the person, it registers the reward. And when you've swiped through 200 people in a week, when you've had 40 conversations that went nowhere, when you've been ghosted so many times it stopped surprising you, something in you just numbs. Hinge's own research showed that 70% of its users feel emotionally burned out after 6 months. A Stanford study found the more dating apps someone uses, the less hopeful they become about finding love. And the worst part? The apps are designed to keep you on them because the moment you find love, you stop paying. So they sell you the search, not the destination. Gen Z figured this out, and a lot of them just logged off. Okay, but here's the one nobody talks about. Gen Z, for the first time in their generation's short history, is starting to actually build something. A routine, a creative project, mental health progress, maybe a side hustle, maybe just peace. And here's what happens when you finally feel okay on your own. A relationship starts to feel like a risk, not a reward. Because they've seen what bad relationships do. They drain your energy. They consume your identity. They make you smaller than you were before. And Gen Z has worked too hard to get to okay, to hand it over to someone who might not deserve it. Is that hyper-independence? Maybe. Is it a trauma response? For some, absolutely yes. But is it also just wisdom? I think it can be both. And then there's this. Gen Z, the most educated, most emotionally literate generation ever, knows about attachment styles. They know about love languages. They know about emotional unavailability and gaslighting and breadcrumbing. They know what they want, They know what they deserve, and they look around at what's available, on the apps, at the bars, in the DMs, and they think, is this it? This is what I'm supposed to settle for? And look, I'm not saying nobody out there is worth it. I'm saying the bar got raised at the same time the dating pool got more complicated. And for a lot of Gen Z, the math just doesn't add up. Single with peace beats together with chaos. Every time. Okay, I've been defending the choice. Now let me push back on it, on us, because there's a difference between choosing to be single and hiding behind it. There's a difference between protecting your peace and using protecting your peace as a reason never to let anyone close enough to know you. And Gen Z, us, I'm including myself here, we're sometimes very, very good at dressing up avoidance as self-awareness. Working on myself can be growth, or it can be the longest excuse ever made. The loneliness statistics for Gen Z are genuinely alarming. 71% of young adults in the US report feeling lonely regularly. That's not a flex, that's not freedom, that's a crisis we're not naming honestly enough. So the question I want you to sit with is this: are you single because you're at peace, or because being alone feels safer than risking being hurt? Both are valid places to be, but only one of them is a destination. Here's where I land on this. Gen Z choosing to be single isn't a failure, it's not a symptom of a broken generation, and it's not something that needs to be fixed. It's a response to a world that rushed them, disappointed them, overstimulated them, and then had the nerve to ask why they weren't ready. But, and this is important, choosing yourself shouldn't mean closing yourself. The goal isn't to be so healed, so whole, so complete that you never need anyone. The goal is to become someone who can love without losing themselves. And that's worth working toward. So I want to hear from you. Are you single by choice or by circumstance, or somewhere in that messy gray area in between? Drop it in the comments. No judgment. This is the exact conversation we need to be having. And if this hit, you know what to do. I'll see you in the next one.